Hello again, everybody. Welcome to our channel, Scientology Peeling the Onion, with my co-host, Janis Gillham Grady. My name is Mark Fisher. How you doing today, Janis?
I'm good, Mark. Good day, everybody. We have a special guest today. We've had her on before, but she's like a sister to me from another mother, but we were both very close to my mother. Let me introduce Spanky Taylor.
Hi, everyone. Hi, nice
Hi,
to be
Spanky.
here. Hi.
You're looking good.
Hey,
Thank you.
hey, Spank, I was thinking the first thing I should probably ask you, because your name is Yvonne, just like my mother's.
Yes. Well,
But everyone-
I got a big, long Mexican name.
Yes, but everyone just calls you Spanky, and I've had people ask me, "Why does what's her name, Spanky?"
Okay. I was very young, 13, 14, maybe years old, and I had a very close friend at Santa Clara Mission. His name was Larry Shedder. I always called him Bull Shedder, and still call him Bull Shedder. He's a wonderful guy, and for some odd reason, he started calling me Spanky. He was like, "Hi, is Spanky?" I thought, "Where the hell?" And then it was very annoying. And then my very dear friends, Joyce and Suzanne, who followed me in Scientology, they started calling me Spanky. And then it just stuck. And, there I am, 14 years old with this ridiculous name, but now I'm an old lady with the same ridiculous name. But it's okay. It works for me. It works for my work. So I'm professionally known as Spanky Taylor as well.
Spanky, you'll probably remember this from the late 60s. There was a singing pop group called Spanky. What was that? They had that great song, Lazy Days, huh?
Yeah, and also, well, I'd like to get to know you. Yes, I would.
Yeah. I have those. I actually have them on my iPod. I listen to them all the time.
Funny.
I love those songs.
Yeah, they're
I
great
always,
songs.
before I met you, I always assumed maybe that you were the singer in that group.
No.
Your name was Spanky.
No, not the same one.
I've never heard of that group.
Oh, yeah.
No.
You've heard the songs, though.
Great
You've heard the
songs.
songs.
Great songs.
Yes, but Spanky, I want to let everybody know, your last video you did with us a couple of weeks ago is very popular. You're a very popular guest, and we're
thank you.
thankful to have you back here.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad I hope you got some good feedback on it.
That's good.
Yeah, we have.
Oh, good.
Yeah. We're going to tell more stories about your time at Celebrity Center in Scientology, and then and then we'll go from there. So, Jan, do you want me to start with the slides?
Everybody's going to have to excuse me because I have a bit of a cough, and I'm sorry if I'm interrupted by my cough. So forgive me.
That's okay.
Okay.
From all your travels, you're as bad as I am.
Not quite, Tandy. Come on, not even close. Not even close.
Yeah.
Well, reorient everybody. Here's the original Celebrity Center. This was here downtown Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, on 8th Street. There it was, and still remains, except it's not CC anymore. It's, I think, a vegetable market or something.
Oh, no kidding. That building's still there. They didn't tear it down and something else.
No.
Great building, though.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, this building, when they were fixing it up, they didn't have money for, to fix it up. So everyone went dumpster diving is the story I was told. Going to old carpet businesses and pulling carpet out of the dumpsters. And then they did a whole patchwork of the carpet. Is that right,
Well,
Spank?
actually, on the walls, so that it would be soundproofed. I think they were on the walls. The chunks of carpet were on the walls primarily, not here.
Okay.
Around the courtrooms, and as I recall.
Well, there is a picture, and I didn't include it here. I've included it before, where in the theater area, there's patchwork carpet in there because when my brother got married, there's a photo of that patchwork carpet.
Yeah, because it had to be soundproofed as well, because there was music there. So they did a lot of soundproofing.
Yeah, but it was basically make it go right. Not enough money, so just go and make it go right. Make it look good.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. But Mom used to have a whole lot of different events going on to try and bring people in. She had like poetry by candlelight and
a lot of concerts.
A lot of concerts in that little theater.
Yeah. Yeah. It didn't seem so little at the time, but I guess it was in retrospect. But it was
And for any viewers that are new to watching this, when Janis talks about Mom, she's talking about Yvonne Gillham Gents. who was the founder, the person who started Celebrity Center in Scientology. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Pretty special woman, pretty magnificent woman.
Yeah. Shall I go through and show some more of these slides? You can tell stories from them?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that on the back of that in my mom's handwriting, it says bookstore.
No, that's definitely a bookstore.
Yeah. So that must have been the first bookstore at the 8th Street in 1970 was the date of the photograph.
Yeah,
Selling
but
L. Ron Hubbard books.
To the right of there's the front doors. So it was to the right of the entrance of CC at that.
Okay.
This picture was that
And
shelf.
is this the reception desk?
Yeah, that's the reception, which you can still see in the other photo as well. But to the right of that photo is the book, those books.
Okay, and this would have been like 1969, roughly?
1970 was that other photograph.
1970,
Yes,
okay.
69, I'd say, right in there. Yeah.
Okay. This is a course room?
Yeah, it's a course room.
And those that know Gelda Midoff, that's her on the right there with the blondish hair.
Sitting down.
Sitting down, yes.
I think the far left was Amanda.
Yes, that is Amanda. Amanda Ambrose is the far left.
Yeah.
The African-American woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Al Rabisi.
Who's that?
Albert Rabisi. Al Rabisi.
Oh, that's Al Rabisi?
That's yes.
Okay, now he was with Robbie and Jeff Levin in People, right? The rock group.
Right. Yes, he was.
And then he's also later the father of Giovanna Ribisi, the actor, and Marissa Ribisi, who also was an actress.
Yes.
You know, those were his kids, right?
And that's another girl, Gina, another child, Gina. He has another girl, Gina.
Yeah. You know, in 1973, that was my first time to the U.S. And while Terry and I we visited Mom in LA, and then we went down to Phoenix and saw Dad. And then Mom had gone down to Mexico on a tour with Al Rabisi, Gay Rabisi, and Pat Bultari. And so Terry and I, before going back to Europe to the ship, we flew down to Mexico City. And that's where I met Al. And Gay was pregnant with the twins at the time. And we went out to the pyramids. And Gay, of course, stayed down the bottom with my mom, but Al climbed up with us. But this is a picture of Heber talking to the gods. And Heber Jentz, my stepfather. And Wilfredo Pareto, who had been on the ship for some training from Mexico. So I knew him already. And then that's me at 17 years old. I just turned 17 when I came and visited the U.S.
On the left.
So, yeah. But that was when I met Al Rabisi and Gay. And then I remember the next year coming back, I meant getting to meet the twins, Giovanni. Yeah.
And Marissa, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
they were
just
twins?
little babies.
Yeah, and Nina Giovanni and Tina Marisa, that was their name. That is their name.
And Al Rabisi he's still active in New York, or
yeah, he's still a member. He's not the steward, but he's still a member, and quite a devout member as well, from what I understand.
Right.
And this?
Well, and this photo is Randy McDonald. Randy would do the Celebrity Mag, and that Celebrity Mag was the best magazine out of any of the Scientology magazines, even better than Advance magazine and later on Source magazine. I mean, Randy did an incredible job on the
He really is a talented guy, very talented.
Yeah.
And one guy is a lovely, lovely human being, Randy.
As a public person, you like getting the Celebrity magazine because on the cover would be the photograph of some celebrity who was a Scientologist. So it could be John Travolta or Michael Lembeck or, whoever was the hot celebrity at the time who was in Scientology. Yes. And then there'd be an interview with them inside about how they got in Scientology and all that.
Right.
Right. I actually have a binder somewhere of those Celebrity magazines. I've got to dig around and find them. I found the one that was done on my mom when she passed away. And I copied that in. So at another time, Mark, we can go through that when we do something on my mother and give her history. But I copied that whole thing. But anyway, yeah, that was the best magazine, was the Celebrity Mag.
It was lovely.
We'll skip that one. And then this here.
This here's a trophy in the middle there on the stand. My mom had written on the back, Eddie Robbins Trophy for National Championship. He was a pool player.
Where is this? Is this just like in a public area or where?
CC in the public area, yeah.
Oh.
One of the entrances.
Is that like artwork from the different public on the walls?
More than likely, honey. I couldn't say exactly whose artwork was. That's right?
Yeah, Ernie Lehman.
Spanky, yeah. Go ahead, Spanky. Tell about him.
Screenwriter, a wonderful screenwriter. He did West Side Story. So that's the screenplay. Of course, not the music, but
right.
The screenplay.
Was that the one that Carmen Terra was in?
No, I don't think he was in. No, he might have been. I think he did it on stage somewhere. He did production. Oh, okay. From the stage. He was never in the film. Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, I was going to ask you, Spank. There was a story I'd heard about one of the celebs, I guess a band member for Tina Turner's group, coming back from tour and not feeling real good. What was that story?
He felt troubled after coming off the road, and he needed to get in session, and someone determined that he needed a session, and Yvonne was told he needed, and I was walking with her because we were doing rounds at that point, where we'd go around and check on how the staff were doing, and somebody said, "Sir, Rick needs to get in session," and one of the regis came in and said, "Oh, sir, he doesn't have any money on account." And she said, "Excuse me, I did not ask if he had money on account. I said I need to get him in session, so get him in session," which is kind of the point of what we're there for. And I think people would forget that and focus on the income. And that wasn't a priority to Yvonne. Yvonne's priority was taking care of the people and getting services done to them or for them and with them. So that was made very abundantly clear to that staff member. Look, don't tell me about this. Tell me that you're getting him in session. So he was rushed off to get in session. So that was a blessing.
Good.
One of the magical things that she was about.
Speaking of magical things, what about that fight that was apparently a knife fight or something that was going on across the road?
I just remember there was some sort of kerfuffle out in front of CC on 8th Street. There was a number of people, homeless people and such, that were on house people, I guess they'd say, that had issues and problems. And there was this one man who came with a big knife, and he was threatening and screaming and yelling. And everyone, the staff that were out there at the time were saying, "HCO, bring order! HCO, bring order!" which was a command that was given to get attention paid to some issue. And she walked over quietly to the gentleman and she said, "Drop the knife, darling." And with that, he instantly dropped the knife. And I was like, "Whoa, magic!" And she said, "Sometimes the little smallest effect needs to be made when there's someone making a big scene." And it really truly worked. And the person just chilled out. She said, "Just have a seat and we'll have someone come take care of you." And they called the authorities to take it. But it was really amazing to me that she just so easily took care of the whole situation instead of this big panic and mass hysteria that was happening around her.
Yeah, it's amazing how the word "darling" coming from a woman to a man.
Yeah, it was
would actually grab their attention to do what they say. You know what I mean? I mean, particularly because it's not used very often anymore, honey or darling, to somebody you don't know. And all of a sudden, it just sort of diffuses the whole situation.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, my mom pretty much called everyone darling.
Yeah. No, I know, but this man had no idea who she was. But, you hear that and it's kind of like, oh, okay.
That was
who goes up to a knife fight and calls them darling?
Your mom does. That's who does.
Right. Well, that reminds me of the story where Pat Waltari told me this one, where she had to get from one city to another in time for an event, and there was no other flights. And she was running late as usual, because she was always busy trying to talk to everybody. And they finally got to the airport just as the plane was pulling out, and she was told, you can't get on the plane. Doors already closed. It's about to pull out. And this was the day you didn't have to go through TSA or any sort of security. You just walked straight to the gate and got on. Well, she didn't. She walked straight out to the tarmac and went up to the guy that's got the headphones on and the speaker talking to the pilot. And she goes, call back that plane. And the guy did. And the plane turns around and comes back, opens the door, the ladder goes, and she gets on and off she goes for her event. I wasn't there. This is Pat Quiltari told me this story.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. So Spanky, let me ask you. So basically, where we left off last time, you were in the PR org, and Yvonne had just passed away, and we told that story. But basically, after that, what happened to you in your Sea Org career and all that sort of thing?
Well, I left the Sea Org, as you know, and I was fitness boarded.
Well, when did you leave? Tell that story in terms of
that
what,
was
when you left.
1978. Okay, Yvonne passed away in early '78, and then I almost, without hesitation, went to the RPF. So, for reasons that I think I explained earlier, and so then I was in the RPF for a number of months, and then decided it wasn't for me. It wasn't the lifestyle I wanted. So I wanted to get out, and I did. And I kidnapped my child and blew, as they say. And then I had a number of people come to where I spent the night at this hotel and to take me back. And I said, look, I'll go back and get fitness boarded, but I will never spend another night there, and nor will my child ever. So you'll have to work it out. So they did. And so they said I'd get fitness boarded. And I did, it was actually very kind and very sane. They just asked me questions, and I went in, I think 4 or 5 days in succession. And then they said, okay, we've determined you're not fit to be in the Sea Org because you don't want to be here. I said, good, thank you. And off I went. They also gave me a big piece of paper, which I don't know what it was. At the time I didn't know. And I think I looked at it, but I just took it. They said, sign this. I said, absolutely. And I rolled it up and stuck it in my pocket. And then when I got out the door, I tore it up and threw it out. It was just like a bill or something. So whatever.
Was it a freeloader bill or no? You don't know?
I don't know what it was. It was some kind of, I owed something for something, probably a freeloader, but I didn't sign anything. I just ripped it up and threw it out because I felt I had done my fair share. So at any rate, I shortly thereafter, I don't think I was declared. In fact, I'm sure I was not declared because my husband was still at director. He was director of litigation U.S. He was in the GO. My husband at that time, Norm Taylor. So I couldn't jeopardize his situation either. So I just left quietly.
Where did you go? Where did you go when you left?
I had there was a wonderful woman named Mary Hannavaro who came and picked me up where I was staying, and she took me to her home, and that's where I lived at first. And Norm came and stayed there as well with me, and she was lovely. And then when I was being fitness boarded, she came to pick me up. She had a lot of she was a big media journalist, and she had also just been nominated Mexican American Woman of the Year, and she had a lot of authority and public image, public image. So that was not my intention, not to go to the media or anything. She just happened to be my friend and somebody that I knew I could call. But we had become friends when I was in, and so I stayed with her. And then when I like the last day of my fitness board, she went to the circle drive and said, I'm supposed to be out here at 1:30, 2 o'clock, whatever time it was. So be here to pick me up. So she goes the door with her media pass. She was a big reporter for KFI radio or something. So she went in and said to the circle drive, and she said, hi, my name is Mary Hannavaro, and I'm expecting Spanky Taylor to be out here. If she's not out here exactly 2 o'clock, I will have every news source in this town at this door. They just said, and I'm upstairs, and they're going, Spanky, get your things, you gotta go. I said, well, no, you gotta go. You better, I can't be late. I think, what is going on? So I get out there, and Mary Helen said, boy, right on time. She goes, well, I'll tell you what happened. I said, oh my God, Mariana, you can't do that. You can't threaten these people. She goes, I didn't mean to threaten. I just didn't want them messing around with you. I said, okay, whatever. But she was lovely. And so anyway, I left. But then soon thereafter, I was approached by some people in the Guardian's office to see if I would help with some projects they were doing, and which were just, just things that they were doing, which questionable in retrospect. But anyway, some projects they had, and they wanted me to kind of get information for them, which I did what I could and wouldn't do certain other things. But anyway, so I was kind of a good standing, even though, and then there was people who, one person, Jim Kennedy, remember Jim Kennedy? He said, I will stand between you and bazookas if I have to, to make sure you don't get messed with it. But they had me doing projects for them. He was in the GO at that time in B1. So I did whatever I needed to do because I also wanted to kind of keep hold of my marriage at that point.
Yeah, I was going to say, so your husband was in the Guardian's office,
yes,
heading up the legal bureau, I guess.
He was the director. He was litigation. He was one of the
litigation. Okay. Now, did he? So he stayed in, obviously, and they didn't want to cause any cruffle.
Well, he stayed in, but it was when he had also been in the SO. But when he went in the GO, they transferred his contract to a 5-year contract.
Right.
So
the Guardian's office were not Sea Org normally.
And then he walked away. It's like as though he'd never been in the Sea Org. He didn't have a freeloader or anything. It's so odd that they just transferred it over to a contract, and then he finished his contract.
Did he stay? Like, did he eventually leave, or what happened with him?
He's still a member. And he's an attorney.
I meant did he leave his position in the Guardian's office, or?
Oh, yeah. He's not a GO anymore, for sure.
So he's public.
Yeah, he's a public, but he's an attorney. He's an
attorney.
Now,
what did you do for a living when you first left? I mean, what was it like, being out on your own for the first time since you were a teenager?
Well, the first thing I thought to do was PR, because that's what I did with Yvonne. Which, did I tell this story last time?
No.
Okay, so so I had friends, and I wanted to go into public relations, and my one friend said, you should get a small business loan. You could go to the bank and get a small business loan because you've done PR, and they'd give you, and you could start a PR firm. And I said, that's a good idea. So
I'm sorry, I didn't get that. What did they say?
Small business loan.
Small business loan. Okay.
And to start your PR firm. So I said, I could do that. Okay, great. So I go to Security Pacific Bank, and I said, hi, I want to apply for a small business loan. They said, great. So fill out this paperwork. So I did. And then and they asked what my background had been. And I said, I had done PR for the Church of Scientology for a number of years. So, when I was when I was in Canada doing publicity for the band, I did a lot of press work. So I said, I did a lot of publicity and PR work. So I want to get this loan. So I go to the loan officer. He reviews my paperwork, and I didn't even know I didn't have even a proper resume, nor did I have a business plan. I mean, I was just dumb. I was just dumb as a bag of hair, truly. So they called me to his desk, and he said, and he is a nice guy, lovely guy, and he said, so let me get this right. You did public relations for Church of Scientology, right? I said, yes, and very proudly. And I'm thinking, this is the fastest growing religion in the world. And he said, great. He said, you do know that their PR is just below that of the KKK, don't you? What? He said, oh, no. He said, no, they have very bad PR. This was like news. I mean, you could have told me anything and it wouldn't have. I was so shocked. I was completely gobsmacked. What? He said, no, I'm telling you, it's just got the worst reputation. Oh, and then I just said, I started crying. I said, does that mean I'm not getting loan? He said, no, sweetheart, I'm sorry. I just started crying. I said, oh, okay. I'm like so horrified. This is like the first I knew that the church had any even controversy around it. I mean, I really didn't know. I mean, when I was new, because I had met some people who had been involved in some controversy up there, the McLeans in Canada, that they had done a mock funeral of his family and stuff downtown Toronto. But that was years ago, so it didn't even occur to me. And And I knew there had been years earlier when I first got in, there was a Life magazine article that was pretty controversial. I didn't read it, but I knew that it existed. But I was just shocked.
The raid had happened though, right? In 77? The FBI raid?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I didn't even realize that that was as widely
Well,
publicized.
it makes sense because, when you're inside, you don't know what's going
I
on
was
the
so
outside.
in the
So
bubble.
this was your
in the
severe
bubble.
reality adjustment.
Oh, truly, truly. I was a effing idiot. I mean, truly. I mean, oh my God,
So-
you guys. It's
So
embarrassing.
innocent.
Not innocent, stupid, honey. Just ignorant. The word is ignorant.
Ignorant.
But
Okay.
we were too. We had no idea what to do anything outside of Scientology. So I can relate to what you went through.
Yeah.
But yes,
I mean,
I knew how to work hard, and I knew I could work hard and know that I would work hard. So I thought, well, I'll do it anyway. So I went and started getting clients and did fine. But I thought it's not the field I want to be in, because I thought PR publicity, especially in entertainment, is the most thankless job, especially if you're working on a show, on a play or something. If the play is good and a success, it's all because of PR. And if it's a flop, it's not because of the writing or the directing, it's because of bad PR. Everything bad is bad PR. Everything good is because of the art itself. It's got nothing to do with you. If the good has nothing to do with you, the bad has everything to do with you. So so it wasn't something that I wanted to continue doing. And also I didn't like the clients that I wanted to have were not people who would be ideal clients from a PR person's perspective. I wanted people who would be like PR people's nightmares. I wanted to work for just people that I admired artistically, and not the Morgan Fairchilds of the world, who at that time, being an opinionated biatch that I was, I think, well, if you can afford to work, you should. If you can afford to eat, you're being overpaid. I had certain viewpoints about certain performers, but so I didn't want to do that. So then I started the business I'm in now.
I got it. Okay. So were you living in Burbank after leaving the Sea Org, or did you where?
No, I lived in LA, in the Los Feliz area for a long time, and then I moved to Burbank years later.
And you still were with your husband at the time.
I was I left. My husband and I split up in 1986, 87.
All right, we'll be back to the show in a minute, but I wanted to talk to you all about a product that Janis has from her company, Outback Naturals, and it's called Koala Calm. Janis, what is it? Tell people about this product.
this is a product that my father developed. Must have been back in the late 80s. He came up with this. He always sold CalMag, calcium magnesium, which was a big seller. But his wife at that time had PMS issues, and so he started researching more and digging in, and he actually found she didn't need the calcium part, but what she needed was the magnesium part, because that helped break down the calcium and the body assimilate the calcium better, rather than getting calcium deposits and kidney stones and that type of thing. So the magnesium helped dissolve that and help the body through by not having the calcium added with it.
Right, and it's really good for like people with anxiety or stress or having trouble sleeping. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. I take it actually every night. I take it with 250 milligrams of B1, and I sleep very well, actually.
That's great. Now, how do people, if they get it, it comes in a powder form, right? So how do they actually, drink it or take it? What do they do?
Yeah, well, you heat up hot water. I don't microwave. I just have a kettle and I heat up the hot water, and I fill up half a cup of hot water, and then I add the amount of magnesium powder that I need. If I put the powder in first and then pour in the hot water, it fizzes and spills all over and makes a mess. So I do the hot water first. I add the magnesium. I don't put the spoon in because, again, it's going to fizz all over the place. So I just let it then fizzle down on its own and do its own thing. And then I add water, cold water, or some ice to cool it down. And then I just take it with my B1.
Okay, and it comes in 2 flavors, right?
Yeah, I have apple cinnamon.
Okay.
And also unflavored plain. And some people like to add this to their orange juice and different things like that, or even their tea.
Yeah, I've used it in the evening too. If I need to, having trouble go to sleep, I'll heat up some water, put some of the Koala Calm in it, and then I'll just sip it while I'm watching TV or reading or
Right.
whatever before I go to bed. And next thing you know, I go right to sleep. So if you're having
Well,
problems with anxiety or stress, or if you're having trouble sleeping, it's really great for us. And of course, we're not getting any younger, any of us. So anyway, we recommend the Koala Calm. Now, I want to
right.
tell people how they can get it. You can actually order it right now today at our store. Just go down to the tab down below, click on it, and you can find the Koala Calm there. It's $19.99 plus shipping and handling in the United States, and you can just order it there. But Janis, in the non-US, how can people order the Koala Calm?
They can just go to Amazon.com and order it there because they have international shipping and so forth. But Mark, there's also something else I wanted to comment on. My dad would always tell me that he would take magnesium sometimes if he's feeling tired. He would just take the Calm because it would help give him energy throughout the day. And he'd just add it to his water bottle and drink it throughout the day.
That's great. That's just another way that you can try out the Koala Calm and get some benefit from it. So anyway, if you're interested in the product, Koala Calm from Outback Naturals. Okay, now back to our show.
But then he didn't like my friends either, and the church didn't like my friends, and he didn't like my friends because he thought they were SPs, which some of them were declared so, but I didn't agree, and so I thought I'm a grown-up woman and I should get to pick the good guys from the bad guys, and these were good guys, so I didn't agree with those standards. I just didn't agree.
And you still don't.
I have.
Did they ever try to get you back? Did they ever try to get you back as a paying public online?
Oh, absolutely, countless times. Which I couldn't agree to that either. I mean, Karen Hollander was a wonderful woman who was the COCC for a while. She was wonderful. I mean, she was wonderful to me, and they were still doing a lot of dirty tricks to me. And I'd call her up and say, Karen, call your dogs off. Tell them to leave me alone. She goes, well, why would you think that has something to do with us? Hello. I've lived through this long enough that I know that these are your people photographing my friends coming in and out from my doors. I know that this is Scientology.
So they were fair gaming you. They were actually doing different.
Oh my God, terrible! Taking pictures of my kids with telescopic lens cameras and following us everywhere, and it's just absurd. And also Jerry and Hannah Whitfield were very good friends of mine, and they followed us terribly, mercilessly all over. And was it mainly because of the people like Hannah and the friends that the former Sea Org members, former Scientologists that you were friends with, they were interested in following you for that reason? Well, I think, not just because like I was friends with Jerry Armstrong. They didn't like Jerry Armstrong.
No.
So there were people that they considered very that were dangerous to them, which I think to some degree they were right. I mean, those are people that weren't going to stand for their nonsense, but they weren't, I guess they were in respect I wasn't going after them in any way, but just that these are people that I cared about. So I guess by association, I was therefore guilty. And so even though most of my friends that were just wonderful people, like Jack and Bridget Manning were my, the heads of CC in Toronto, and just wonderful people. And Hannah and Jerry, I understand because they started doing exit counseling at that point and helped me greatly with my life. Truly, I don't think I'd have a life without them. So truly, They helped me so much. And as a result, introduced me to grand and extraordinary people. Robert Caldini, Margaret Singer, just great people that I'm just honored to have known. And brilliant people who knew the subjects very well. Steve Hassan and just all these great writers and people.
They'll help you peeling. They'll help you with your peeling the onion, right?
Truly. And peeling it and smushing it down the ground and stomping my foot on it or rubbing my toe into the ground.
Yeah.
With it. No, they all great people who helped me. I mean, really brilliant people that I was very blessed to even have the opportunity of knowing.
Wow. So So you don't have to go into the details if you don't want to, but so basically I take it this eventually broke up your marriage at some point, because if
Oh
he's
yeah, it was
Scientologist in
very
good
clean
standing,
and
he
easy.
can't be connected to you because you've got all these friends that are not in Scientology.
Well,
Right?
it wasn't. It was more disagreements. He just said, he was very clear. He said, if this is not the most important thing in your life, we can't be married. Well, that's not something you could think. I mean, it either is the most important thing in your life or it's not. And it clearly was not any longer. In fact, it wasn't even an important factor of my life, let alone the most important. The most important thing in my life were my kids and my friends. And that and then creating a life for my kids and myself. I had to build a life for us. So Scientology didn't even play a part of that at that juncture. So I just said, sweetie, I'm so sorry. Then we can't be married because I can't even fake that. I can't even pretend. So he said, okay. So that was it on the marriage, which was okay. It
Right.
was difficult, but it's a hard thing. However, you invest so much time and someone you truly cared about, and truly to this day I care about him. I hope he's done well, and even though he really thinks I'm demonic and he thinks I'm, you know, an appendage of Satan. So whatever. I'm
Oh
not
my
so
God.
sorry he feels that way. But what can you do?
I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
Let
Well,
me ask you.
I know,
Go ahead,
Mark, let
Dan.
me say
Go ahead.
something on
Yeah, go ahead.
Spanky.
Yeah.
You know, I became close to Spanky. We were good friends and so forth. But then after my mom passed, even though Spanky wasn't there, she meant a lot to me. And when I got married, she jumped in with both feet and helped put my wedding together and did all the invites and argued with my dad, who wanted apple cider, sparkling apple cider, when
No
Spanky
shame.
wanted champagne for the wedding. So she was right there for me. And when I left in 1990, Spanky was the first person I called because I knew that she would be there for me and could help me and direct me and that type of thing. So I've really valued the friendship that we have.
Well, you're my girl, Jenny. So I mean, these Gillums, the young Peter and Tezzy and Jenny, mean the world to me. Truly, I mean, I can't even express in words how important they are to me. They're so important to me, and even if I don't see them for a long time, I miss them to the point of ridiculous. It pains me how much I miss them when they're in their absence. But anyway, they're very dear to me. So all of them, Peter, I love Peter. I mean, Tezzy is just incredible. So I love them, and we don't agree on everything across the boards. But oh my God, I'd take a bullet for any of the three of them. Truly, I would.
Well, thank
That's
you.
great.
Well, I do want to also mention when when I've put on different events, or where I've had people pass away and I'm going to do a celebration of life for them. Spanky is right there with me, hand in hand. We put on these events together. We did them at her house, and she
Many
had
times at
over
other
a
home,
hundred.
Oh yeah.
Pardon?
many times at my other home on my big house. Yeah.
Yeah, with over 100 people showing up, and she was the hostess, and oh, she was just fantastic. And I'd never done all this special hostessing, so she'd like, okay, we need flowers. I wouldn't think of flowers.
Centerpiece. We have to have centerpieces. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's been really good on helping with ex-Sea Org members on different events and helping them out, and get their feet on the ground as well.
Right. That's great. So, Spanky, let me ask you a question. Did you know Janice's father and Yvonne's
Yeah.
ex-husband,
Sure.
Peter Gillham? Did you know
Sure,
him?
sure, I did.
Yeah.
Of course, I did. And he'd come around, when Yvonne was when she and I had the PR, he'd come about and and bring her things and stuff. I was very fond of Peter. And then after Yvonne had passed in many years, as Jenny and I reconnected when she left, they always included me whenever one of them would have a birthday. They always it was always the kids, Jenny and Tezzy and Peter, and I was always asked to be there, which just touched my heart so much. I said, "Why am I going to young Peter's birthday, or why am I? Why? Oh, because you have to be with us. You have to take my mom's place." Oh, okay, that was so thoughtful and great. So they always included me in lieu
Yeah.
of Yvonne. It was so great.
Right. And then if you don't mind, I mean, if you don't want to, that's fine. I was going to say, you have started a very successful business to this day, and
Yes,
it's public relations type of work, right?
It's basically, just to be 100% straight with it, it's a very glorified fan mail business, but it's fan mail with a lot of extra attention to security. It's audience response and threat assessment. So I monitor obsessive fan situations for various high-profile entertainers, and I have wonderful clients, really wonderful clients, and and I'm very thrilled and blessed to have a successful business.
Right. That's right. And she's been very successful for a long time, and they're
Yeah.
very loyal to her, and vice versa.
Yeah, most of my clients I've had for decades, and they're like huge stars. Decades I've had them. It's really amazing.
Well,
She can't say who they are. She can't say who they are, but if she did, you'd know exactly who she's talking about. Anyway, go ahead, Janis.
Yeah, well, I've actually gotten from her signed autographed photographs of various celebrities. And I used to have them on all the walls in my guest room. So the guests would come and see all of Spanky's clients on my wall.
That's great.
And you had it was the Spanky room. I remember said you could be in the Spanky room.
That's right.
Okay, now you mentioned that you didn't actually get declared a suppressive person until years later, right?
Yeah, much later. I got declared, I think in 92. I think I don't know how I declare right here somewhere, but I got declared because I don't know what the thing was. Even after my comment, you would think I'd be declared after that, but I wasn't. But I did something that pushed the over the edge.
Probably talking to Janis. No, I'm joking.
No, no.
That has happened.
But I have to tell you, the gifts I got from being in the sewer, meeting the most amazing people in my life. Mike and Sue Garson, Janny, Tezzy, great, incredible people that are important in my life to this day. Carolyn Clark, to this day, really important in my life, and who have kind of walked me through life to a large degree, through everything. Even I had a big bout of cancer in 2022, and they were all there for me, just wonderful people. All these people I knew when I was in and when I was out, all former members. All my dearest friends are former members. Tori is just great and still an activist doing so much. And
Tori Chrisman.
Yeah, Tori Chrisman. So, I've been very blessed, and really the greatest gift in the world were these people.
I was going to ask you, okay, so at some point, obviously, you decided to participate in the Going Clear, the HBO documentary based on Lawrence Wright's book, which is very famous and everybody has seen. If you haven't already, you should go to HBO and watch it. It's fantastic. But how did that come about? How did you get involved with that?
Lawrence Wright contacted me and asked me if I'd be in the book, and I said absolutely not. I had been I worked so hard to build a life, and I own my home and I own my cars, and things were like very stable for me. And then he wanted me to do this, and I was like, nope, not going there. And then he just worked on me and called me, and and we ended up, because he just talked to me so I could get information, just background information. So we ended up talking probably 40 hours. I mean, a lot. He's
a wonderful guy. I met him and talked to him too. Very
persuasive.
So then he said, Spanky, you know what? There's going to be over 200 interviews in this book. No one even noticed. Really, please, it's really important you do this, because all people know about Scientology is it's a Tom Cruise thing and that John Travolta thing. They don't know anything more than that. So you could really fill in those blanks, especially the John Travolta part. So I said, and he goes, and nobody even noticed. I said, oh, okay, I'll do it. So I agreed to do it. And then I'm at a Mexican restaurant with a friend, and I get a call from Larry, and he said, Spanky, the book has been excerpted in 18 international publications. I said, oh, good for you, Larry. I'm so glad. And he said, and it's your part that's been excerpted. Really? Oh, okay. And he said, wait a second. He said, and it's going to be like front page story in the Hollywood Reporter tomorrow. I was like, oh my God, they're going to effing kill me. Oh my God, I'm a dead person. I was so freaked out. I was like just mortified. I was just hysterical. I was really freaked out. And I didn't know what to do. And I called my friend Jack, who we were just talking about earlier. And Jack said, I'll get up like 2 a.m. I'll read the New York issue when it comes out, and I'll see how it is and if it's very dangerous. And he called me and said, Spanky, it's great, it's terrific. And Larry said, Spanky, it's a love story, you don't have to worry about it. And I thought, oh my God. And sure as can be, there it was, the front page story of the Hollywood Reporter. And so I was like, oh my God. So I was frightened to all get out. And then it came out, and there was no repercussions. I was very happy. And then I get a call from Alex Gibney, who said he wants me to do the film. I said, no way. I already did the book, which I said I wouldn't do, but I got persuaded to do. I'm not doing the film. He said, it's so important. But he sent me all his films that he had done. And he
this is Alex Gibney was the director of the documentary.
Really
and he's very famous.
He Oscar winning documentary, and he's brilliant. And he kept asking me, taking me to dinner place, courting me. I said, no, I'm not doing it. Then we cut a deal, and I agreed to do it. So we cut a deal in my behalf.
Well, and we're glad that you did, because you are a key part of the film, and it's very important for people to watch Going Clear in the Prison of Belief on HBO. You can still watch it. It's a film. So when that happened, when it came out, you went to the premiere, didn't you?
Yes.
The premiere in Park City at the Sundance Film Festival.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, it was a great experience. It was great. And Robbie Levin went there, and he met me there, and Liz Gablehouse Lindford, so she was there, and Mark Headley came, and Rinder was there, of course, because he's part of the film, and Devo didn't go, which when I shot the film, I said, could they interview Devo as well, Tom DeVock, and I said so they said, yeah, we'd love to. So the day they shot the footage, they shot the footage in him. So I was really happy he was in it with me, because he's very important to me as well. He's one of the great gifts I left from Scientology with. So and it was pretty, again, that door had shut with all the dirty tricks and everything, and then the film came out. And between January when it premiered and when it came out in May on HBO, again, all the nonsense started, PIs and craziness started, and my tires got cut, and it was awful mess again. But then as soon as the film came out, then it was all over. I opened those doors, they flew open the doors of my house. So where are your PIs now, you MFers? Okay, let's have it. But they were all gone. So
were you there in Sundance when they actually premiered the film, and afterwards didn't you all go up on stage, and what was the audience response like?
Amazing. It was amazing.
I heard it was a standing ovation.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. That had to make you feel good.
And there were a lot of famous people there. It was really incredible. So it was pretty impressive. They took care of us in such an amazing way. So it was a great experience.
That's great. Do you ever have people mention it, in passing when you see them? Go, I saw you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I do. And right, especially when it first came out, I'd be at Costco, and it's odd because people don't recognize me as much as they recognize my voice. In fact, just recently, I was coming out of a Gelson's market, and I was, I have MS, and I'm not real stable. And this man said, excuse me, can I help you cross the street? Because I was walking. I said, oh my God, thank you so much. And then he said, are you Spanky? I said, yes. How did you know that? He said, I recognize your voice. He said, I listened to Mike Rowe's podcast, and he said, I recognize your voice. I thought, oh my God. I'd done Mike Rowe stuff a long time ago, but I was like shocked. But most people know my voice more than even me. So
yeah, and just for our audience, Mike Rowe is famous, of course, from Dirty Jobs and Catch, and he's the voice. He's got a fantastic voiceover so many things, and of course you see him all the time on television. But he's a friend of yours, and you were on his podcast, right?
Yes. And
that was a good podcast.
Yeah, and he did a great one with Render. I don't know if you heard about it. It's a fabulous. his podcast with Mike Winder was incredible, one of his best, I think. And as a matter of fact, an interesting story about Mike. I don't think he'd mind if I mentioned it. Robert Kennedy came out to meet with him to talk to him about being his vice presidential candidate, which he was not going to do. But he spent a couple hours with him, talking to him, because Robert Kennedy, I think, mostly wanted to get information from him or understand his position on things. But I thought it was very interesting. I thought, oh boy, have you done that? I mean, my God, I was just impressed. But he likes Mike very much, which kind of who doesn't, because Mike's a really good guy. But but he said he was not interested in doing that and running for office with him. But it's interesting. Then he got some billionaire to run with him, whatever, which is, I think, not a good thing. But because I don't like when people can buy their way into politics.
Right.
But people do what they do, so.
Yeah, they do.
So.
Yep.
Let me ask you another question. So
Sure.
now that you've been through this, you've led an amazing life, and you have an amazing life still ahead of you, right? But looking back, what are your opinions or your reflections on your time in Scientology, on L. Ron Hubbard, on all your experiences that when you look back at it all?
Well, it's funny. I don't really look at everything in retrospect that way, but and everything's so clear, like 2020 in retrospect. I guess you see things clearly, but I don't always see things clearly regarding Scientology. I'm grateful for. I certainly got a great work ethic, but I think much of that I got from my family and my mom as well, because she was an amazing worker and a great businesswoman. Even though she had no education, she built quite a life for my parents, for she and my dad. I liked that I learned to conquer various obstacles, which were always coming forward, as they did. Whether it's no money for projects or whatever, you learn to make it go right. And so I love that. I love that, as I said, the most valuable thing was the people that I met and got to know, and that I have shared experiences with. And also, in terms of, there's so much of that I learned as Scientology that I value, but I think most, if not all of that, I found out later was just plagiarized. So, I think he had to have a motto: when in doubt, plagiarize, or pull it out of your ass. And I value the plagiarized part, because there's so much information that it's just basic information that, basic, if it's admin stuff, basic MBA stuff that was just taken from other sources that he just put his name on or just reworded it. So, I don't value that, but I mean, I value the information, but only because it's workable and kind of not, just sensible information that you learn to function with. And that's about the most of it. I mean, I think I've talked about what I value the most, and certainly.
I agree with you. The people that I met that are still my friends to this day, they're amazing people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Really accomplished, amazing people.
Yes.
And they got in, they went through, they got out, and they're still great people.
Yes, the way out is the door.
Yeah, and a lot of them have major accomplishments and done well having left.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And some weren't that fortunate, but I'd say the majority of them that we were friends with came out. But I got out so many years ago, so much before either. I mean, so I've had a head start. So I, like Tori, my dear friend Tori, she was in 30 years after me. So
yeah.
So I got a whole time to build a career, and so many people didn't.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. There are a lot like that, and even those that are leaving recently, it's like at least they've got some places. And I mean, your door's open, my door's open, Mark's doors are open. We're all there to help people, whether they know it or not.
Yeah,
we're there.
Absolutely. And they'll find their way to someone to help them, because there are plenty of us. Because for every current member, there's got to be 100,000 former members, which is really what's really great. Every time you turn around, you can't spit without hitting somebody who used to be in involved in some degree or another. So
Right.
it's good.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what's on the horizon for Spanky Taylor going forward? What are your plans going forward these days?
Well, honey, I just plan to keep working as long as I can. I hope I don't continue to lose more of my mobile ability because that's what's been most hindered by my MS. But I just keep going and as much for my third act, I just wanted to really be about the joy. I want my third act to be all about joy in my life. So, which I've been very blessed having a lot of that so far. So that will continue, I hope.
And then Janis, what's your next trip with Spanky? I mean, you're sure you got something planned.
Well, my next trip is Panama. I'm not sure if you're coming or not, but you're welcome.
It's too long. It's 21 days.
Oh, right.
That long.
So I'll have to find a shorter cruise.
Mark, are you
No,
going?
he's not.
Oh, you're not.
No, I have the same viewpoint. I mean, look, I love Janis. Janis's trips are always great, but they're always like 3 to 4 weeks. I like the 1 week, the 5-day trip where I can go, have a good time, come back, and not have my life completely, behind.
Well, Spank, how long were we on our last cruise? That was only 14 days, 2 weeks.
Yeah, but a little more than that the whole time. But and then I went after that. I went to Carrie's. Did you go to Carrie's service? You didn't.
I was with you at Carrie's.
Yeah, we went.
I flew back with you.
That's right. That was lovely, wasn't? That was That was a nice short trip, but we had a wonderful time. Wonderful time. That was great. And
we went to Florida for Carrie Gleason's celebration of life down in Boca.
A lot of whiskey, a lot of friends. It was great. A lot of music. It was terrific.
Yes.
And Hannah was there too, right? Did you get to see Hannah?
Yeah.
Hannah roomed with Spanky at the hotel.
Yeah.
And there was a good group of us. Even Jay Hurwitz came from England, and
really
Jeanette Barnes was there from Sweden.
And Murdoch. And
Murdoch showed up, and Louise Schechter was there, and Neil Safadi.
When did you first meet Hannah? Did you meet her in the 70s, or when did you first meet her?
I met her. That's a great story too. I met her when I was in the PR work with Yvonne, with Yvonne, and she had said, my best friend is going to be coming, and your best friend. I said, oh, sorry, I didn't know you had a best friend. And she said, oh yes. She said, I have a friend. You'll love her. And then Hannah came, and oh my God, it's like she was so great and so special. And I thought, of course, they're so like cut from the same mold. She and Yvonne. She was very loving and very gracious and classy as can be. So I thought, this is like obviously Yvonne's best friend, because who is more like her than this woman? She's so incredible.
And Janis, Hannah Whitfield, Hannah Eltringham, she and your mother were two of the original Sea Project people. Is that right? When the Sea Org started, or shortly thereafter?
Hannah was Deputy Commodore for a while.
Yeah, Hannah was the Deputy Commodore in Los Angeles. But yes, so my mom and Hannah sailed on the Avon River on its original trip from England down to Las Palmas.
We've told that story on our channel.
Yeah, where they're bobbing around like a cork in the storm. But,
you can bond really well there, become best friends easily.
Yeah, and Hannah has agreed to come on our channel. I just haven't had a chance to fit her in with everybody else that we have, and she's working on her book.
Yeah,
Hannah's pretty remarkable. She's a remarkable woman.
Yeah, she really is.
Yeah.
Well, we have reached the end of the show here. And we want to thank you, Spanky, for being here. And before, let me do some business here. And before we hang up, we'll do some business and we'll go from there. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Please click on that subscribe button. Hit that like button, rock slam it, whatever you want to do. It really helps us get the message out and get the word out.
And buy them a coffee.
Buy us a coffee right here. You can buy us a coffee. Go down in the description. There's a link. 1 coffee, 3 coffees, 10 coffees, whatever you want. It definitely helps us. We appreciate the support. So we want to say that too. If you have any questions or comments about what we talked about, please comment down below. We read them all the time, and Janis and I answer them and stuff. So if you've got anything you want to say or any questions or comments, please do so down below there. And then also, if you'd like to become a member of our channel, just hit that join button, and it's just $3.99. You can be a basic member, and it just is another way you can support the channel. And there's no contract; you can cancel at any time, but it definitely helps us out as well. So we would appreciate that, any of that support. Janis and Spanky, is there anything else you'd like to say before we sort of end off this show?
Thank you for coming, everybody. Thanks for watching, and I hope if you have questions, let Jenny know, and I'd be happy to answer them for you.
And thank you,
Absolutely.
Spanky. I really
you're
appreciate you coming on. And
And
I'd
I
like to
appreciate
thank
you.
and I'd like to thank your son as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my son's like the gatekeeper. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Well, don't hang up, Spanky. When
Okay,
we
I
end
will.
off, we'll talk to you on the other side. Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Until next time, everybody. Bye bye.
Ciao,
We'll
ciao.
see you.
Bye.